Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're going to be talking about work glove shopping and recounting a recent trip I had to Lowe's compared to Menards when it came to shopping for a new pair of work gloves. What I found was comical, sad, hilarious, and I don't know what other emotion I can roll into it, but buckle up because I think this is kind of comical. And Lowe's, if you're watching, you might have a few lessons to learn in customer service here. So let's first start off at Lowe's. This is where I began my journey looking for a new pair of work gloves, right? Pretty ordinary task. New work gloves. Nothing special. New work gloves. So 49, that number you see on the screen, that's not someone's sports number. That is not how many pairs of work gloves I've went through in the last year. No, 49 is how many different displays around the store at Lowe's that had work gloves in some form or another tucked away around the store. So this went from first being humorous to comical. I thought I knew what I was looking for. I think they had what I wanted in stock according to the website, but which one of these 49 displays would have what I was looking for with my specific size in it? I don't know. Nobody really seemed to know because there were 49 displays of work gloves around the store. Come on, man. That's just a little bit more. So, just for comparison, a couple days later, I went over to Menards. And just for comparison, Menards checks in on a similar metric at 5 or 6. Depending upon how you want to give Menards credit, they have their main section, which is double-sided on the left and right side of the aisle, whereas Lowe's doesn't quite have a double-sided aisle. So there are what we'll likely say are 6 sections at Menards for consideration, compared to 49 at Lowe's. The one section I did not have a video of coming up here is going to be the gloves that are in their welding section. Sorry, I missed that section here. So that puts that grand total really at 6 sections of gloves. So let's take a look around Menards, just really quick, for a quick reference here on how Menards sets up and displays their work gloves. They've got displays in this one master aisle on both sides, and this is almost all of their work gloves. That's right, they're all right here. With a couple of exceptions, there's one end cap over here, and another end cap over here, and another end cap over here, and that's it. Boom, we're done. That's where you should be looking for gloves at Menards. This isn't rocket science. We're talking about work gloves here. Let's go back to Lowe's. So when I was at Lowe's looking for work gloves, that was the first place I went. They're the closest to where I live. Needed a new pair of work gloves. Thought I knew what I want, and it just went downhill quickly. And so then I got out my camera and started taking pictures because once I realized how insane this was, it just almost became comical, and I thought I would share this experience with you guys today so you can see the hilarity of this. There are gloves stashed all around the store. I don't get it. So first of all, there's one main display in hardware. Now, whether I want to call this a main display or not remains a lot to be decided, but there is one major display here. And there's another main display, if you will, split out over in lawn and garden. Rather than being consolidated, they got these separated out. There is some overlap in the product between the two locations. But then it just begins to spiral out of control from here. There's a few other ones here that I will certainly give them credit for being okay. Like their welding gloves, for example, are over in welding. But you've got end cap displays all over the store with these so-called grab-and-go displays. You got gloves tucked away between other random products in the store, seemingly just to fill shelf space. Hodgepodge boxes of gloves. Other people just apparently dumped another pair of gloves in there. End cap displays. This is lawn and garden. You can see the trimmers and the hose reels there. Another nice display of high visibility mechanics wear gloves, but there's also the impact gloves there. And this is all in lawn and garden. Some of those are clearly what I would think of as being more work gloves outside of lawn and garden, but I don't know. You be the judge on this. More lawn and garden. Lawn and garden. These look like they're winter gloves. And then there's this shopping cart full of inventory that's being moved, maybe? I don't know how to describe it, but kind of a mess. Looks kind of sloppy. End cap here. Nicely displayed Craftsman end cap. More gloves tucked away here. Clearance. Box of Project Source gloves. You can see the spray out there. So this is over in the area of lawn and garden, kind of near their seasonal section. More boxfuls of gloves. Gloves for barbecue grills. This is actually probably reasonable here, in all fairness to them. More grab and go. Here's some duct tape, some gloves. More gloves at another grab and go. Clearance section gloves. Gloves with their ladders. More gloves. And then here's more gloves. More gloves over when, I believe this is tile. We've got more gloves here coming up with buckets. You can see, I believe that's some garage doors in the background there. These are some impact gloves. Here's a random pair of DeWalt gloves in a clearance section all by themselves. Gloves with their doors. We've got another grab-and-go selection of gloves. We've got gloves here with rags and caulk in the back of the paint section. We've got gloves here over with some of the boards all by themselves and up on the rack. A whole box of whatever these Max radial gloves are. Clearly they didn't sell well. They're just a little bit over $2 on clearance. Seemed a little thin and cheap to me when I was in the store looking at them. But whatever, they're there. Here's a whole section of mechanics wear gloves in the power tool area. This section kind of makes sense. But then there's this one in the back of power tools where air compressors used to be all by themselves. And you got a better look at that same display here with another one in the foreground that's got these Metabo HPT tools dumped in the box. Because does anyone respect these boxes of gloves displays all over the store? No, clearly not. The evidence is quite to the contrary of that. So then we've got another section of gloves here. Nice looking Craftsman display here at the end of the power tools. A couple more displays over by Cobalt Power Tools. It all makes sense as long as these gloves that you see here are your size. I mean, this might be easier. Another selection, couple sets here in hardware. Over in welding, this is certainly acceptable. You would expect to find welding gloves in the welding section and nowhere else. And I didn't see these welding gloves in lawn and garden. So good job. Another section here over in hardware. Another random selection of these other gloves here on another end cap. We've got more gloves here coming up, tucked away over here by the buckets on the side, over in tile. You name it, there's random selections of gloves. No guessing what the size is. And if those sizes aren't right, like these here are in electrical, if you need a different size than what's on display, but they're in inventory somewhere in the store, where do you go to find them? I don't know. And that's 3/4 of the problem with shopping for gloves at Lowe's, is you have no idea where to go find gloves in your size. So if you need to try on gloves in your size, or trying to find what you think you're looking for, it could be hidden anywhere. 49 different locations, at the very least around the Lowe's I visited. And this is true of multiple Lowe's. Maybe the number varies at other locations, to be fair. Whereas you're looking at just a handful of locations at Menards. So I'm curious if you guys have had good or bad luck shopping for gloves at Lowe's or anything else, or any other stores you think that have similar issues. I'd love to hear about it. Put in the comments down below. If you like this kind of content, give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day. Bye.